MUJIN, help me. Start going up, folks. Form the mosh pit. Yeah. I was morbidly curious. I'll admit. Sometimes I poke my nose into things that I know I'm going to get upset about just because I'm so curious at the nature of man. Being selfish, being entitled, acting like everyone else on Earth needs to do what you want, and nothing is ever your fault. Ergo Nijisanji. I guess there's a new issue with that company. And MUJIN is going to be the one to talk about it here. We're going to see how far I get into this. I just had to see, and I also want to keep bringing it up because I remember really caping for Niji back in the day. I really felt like they were a great example of just a company that could be so unhinged and not have to worry about anything. Until I realized how some of my favorite entertainers from that group, the men specifically, ended up being terrible, awful people. Anyway, it still hurts when the wind blows, but let's jump into this.
Entertainment is undeniably one of the biggest industries on the planet. It is present in every region of the world, and everyone is very familiar with it at this point. But even though it's present in so many different regions and cultures, they'll have many points in common among one another. One of those points, of course, is unfortunately the aspect of controversy. More specifically, bad people who will gain power and take advantage of others. This is something that has happened and continues to happen as we speak. And no matter how many people get exposed, we keep finding more. And seeing that VTubing is a part of the entertainment industry, they also unfortunately share that same point in common. More specifically, in one of the two biggest VTubing corporations on the planet, Nijisanji. I mean, seriously, this company keeps raising the bar as to how to not do things the right way, to the point where they have an entire playlist on my channel just dedicated to how bad of a company they are. Starting in February 2024, when one of their talents almost took their own life because of their toxic work culture, with them then deciding to terminate her and turn her own coworkers against her in one of the worst streams imaginable. And then slowly but surely, over the next months after that major incident, we started to truly understand the depth of the toxicity present internally at Nijisanji.
What always bothers me is, and this is because we don't ever get that behind the curtain look, really, but it's the same thing in even jobs I've had. When you're working the lowest rung of a job, you don't understand how upper management handles certain things. You might not know why they make certain changes. And until you pull back that curtain, you're never really aware of what's going on. And that just makes it so much easier for us to speculate and wonder or even have conspiracy theories about it, which is another reason why I feel like a lot of people have been frustrated with Hololive or assuming Hololive, VShojo, places like that are clearly bad places because a talent decides to leave. And we don't get all the information and we're left to just speculate. And I think it also speaks to how many of us have been like hurt. We think things are going well and then we learn, oh, this horrible work environment happened or this horrible thing happened to this creative. So then it's easy for us to go, all these companies are terrible because someone decided to leave the company. It must mean it's a toxic work environment. But we don't know, which makes it even harder to not go for that. But for this, I mean, obviously this is an obvious thing we can see. We have actual evidence of what's going on, which I think truly would be the thing that any of the independent VTubers would do if they left Hololive or VShojo and they had a bad experience, right? Because they have nothing to fear at that point. And they already have an audience that's going to cape for them. It's just crazy that in an entertainment industry like this one, that a company like this one isn't dead in the water. I don't understand, and that's where I'm not understanding it as someone who can't see behind the curtain. How does a company like this last? Like, really? Even if you have a handful of entertainers who have a good fan base, what's done is done. You've already ruined so much of your company. How is it still around? unless it's making that much money that it really doesn't matter, I can't see how it happens.
With the last video being almost 6 months ago, talking about how one of their biggest male VTubers is a serial harasser, targeting women internally, especially the ones that joined the company recently, and trying his best to take advantage of them. How could this get any worse, you might ask? Well, we just got new information on that VTuber specifically. The victim in question gave us more information about the things that he did to her, and even included an audio clip of her confronting him in a voice call and him replying to her. But what prompted this? This victim already gave us information 6 months ago. Why come out now out of all times and give us more information? Well, it's actually because someone leaked a voice call she was in from 6 months ago, back in December 2024, in which she insulted over 1 billion people due to their race, called for the death of all men on the planet, and admitted that she was a transphobe. Yes, it's because of this.
So I'm so glad I never got back into trying to cape for any of the new Niji talents. Like, and I say this as someone who thinks like Scarlet, unless I missed some information about her, or Mary, very sweet. They're very, very cute. They're wonderful, at least from what I've seen. They seem like sweethearts that are still rocking for the team and just doing what they can to be nice people, right? But it seems like now there's so many ladies, not just men, that are just terrible people. And I also never understand racism or sexism anyway. I don't get it. Like, you don't have to... I get that. I say this as someone who has seen this happen in person. I get that maybe you were hurt by men, which is why you just think that, honestly, the best way to go is just kill all men. But it's so absurd to me to think that that is at all an answer that you express to other people and be like, I don't understand why this happened to me in life. These people all need to be removed and then everything will be wonderful. That's half the reason why I don't, well, actually, why I don't engage in online conversation, but then I do because I'm morbidly curious. I just don't understand how some people can honestly come to those conclusions in any capacity, race, gender, sexuality, anything. How can we think that if we just put to death all of A, then B is going to be fine? No, it's not. That's not how any of that works. I'm sorry.
This voice call leaking, that the victim decided to turn their apology into mostly talking about Aster. Okay, I'm not even...
And this design looks really cool. This is really cool. Why does this have to just suck? Anyway.
Been kidding. I wish I was. This is like 2 videos in one, and honestly, it is such a train wreck that we have to talk about it. So
I'm scared, but I'm curious.
All right, so this whole controversy involving Aster Arcadia and his behavior internally actually started with a completely separate incident. It involved none other than Luca Kaneshiro, one of the...
I hate this guy. I really do. The only time I ever made a diss track in my life was on Luca specifically. It was on my old channel. Of course, I had other things to say about Nijisanji as a whole, but it started off with me just hating this dude because I caped for this guy like you wouldn't believe. I was so just eager to see more of his shenanigans. I was even ready to kind of try and sympathize with him amid all the stupid stuff that he apparently did. I actually was just thinking about this the other day. I thought that his, Lucy voice was really, really cool. I remembered really thinking this guy was just awesome. And it sucks. It sucks. And I haven't forgiven myself because I don't forgive myself for anything, okay?
Biggest male VTubers at Nijisanji. His ex-mod, Raziel Warmonic, tweeted this out on March 29th, 2024, saying, my experience with Java / Luca Kaneshiro, linking a Google Doc that is 58 pages long.
Jesus.
This was a very extensive document showing receipts, DMs, and a lot of different proof in regards to how Luca is behind closed doors. Someone who is manipulative and borderline sociopathic. And as the thumbnail of my video about him suggests, yes, one of the things this document talks about is how he beat his meat in VR chat to Raziel without her consent. It honestly couldn't get more ridiculous, and it's safe to say that it ruined his reputation. Not to mention that Nijisanji just barely went through a PR disaster with Selen Tatsuki's termination, so this didn't help at all. But here's the thing, this whole document mostly talks...
I could confirm that Lucas said that multiple girls were coming to him about the issue since management wouldn't do anything. He discussed it with both Alira and I. And Alira, unless I'm misremembering the name, really talented person. It's like, it's so sad to see really talented people just end up being Manipulative assholes. I don't get it. I personally told him to gather as much information as possible and bring it to management. It's Luca Kaneshiro's job. Another liver confirmed by DM that Aster's allegations of it. Gosh. I guess this is the other thing that confuses me about men. And I mean men specifically, because even in the field I've worked in, I've had many female coworkers tell me about ridiculous things that customers would tell them. Like horrible men saying things to them, wanting things from them. And I'm just sitting there, I'm like, who told you that you're not going to get arrested for this stuff? Who told you that, oh, if I just come to this person, on the internet especially, where you can find receipts, that someone goes, oh, well, I'm just going to say whatever I want to this woman, and I am just so confident that no allegations are going to get lobbied my way, or that it's not going to be a disaster for my life. I don't get that, man. However could you think that that's okay? It's the same thing with old racist guys. Like, how in the hell did you think that this is going to work out for you in life? Just spew racist epitaphs. How? Who told you that that's not going to absolutely ruin your life? I don't get it. I don't get it.
Talked about Luca Kaneshiro, except one paragraph on page 55. This section had the title, Aster Arcadia Harassing Other Coworkers, saying, I can confirm that Luca said that multiple girls were coming to him about the issue since management wouldn't do anything, and he discussed it with both Elira and I. I personally told him to gather as much evidence as possible and bring it to management, since it shouldn't be Luca and Elira's job to regulate this issue. To my understanding, nothing was done about it.
Oh, so he didn't
then
do
showed
shit.
a DM that she received from a Nijisanji English VTuber saying, to help you with clarity, I remember that incident, it was Aster. To which Raziel said, another Nijisanji liver confirmed by DMs that the Aster allegations after this had been made public. So in a nutshell, even Luca, who was toxic and manipulative in his own way, was getting DMs from multiple Nijisanji VTubers, we're talking talents here, telling him to help them convince management to do something about Aster Arcadia.
And that's the thing that bothers me so freaking much about any sort of the entertainment industry. When you have a big platform, why do so many people use it selfishly? I can think of so many Twitch streamers, I can think of so many YouTubers, people who are absolute assholes that don't collab with anybody, they don't talk with anybody, they don't use their platform to help anybody at all. I never understand that. I keep thinking the bigger of a platform you have, the more responsibility you have, and also privilege you have to help other people. And if you're a big person who has a big voice, who might be able to make lasting changes in the company that you work in, and someone comes to you hoping that you're going to use that platform because they know that you can probably sway some things, how could you not want to talk to someone about that? I don't get it.
Like, imagine it getting this bad. Having God knows how many VTubers complain and management still not budging. This was the first time that the mainstream...
I mean, who wouldn't feel like you have a responsibility to help? If I had a big platform and someone smaller was like, hey, this is what's happening to me, this big management thing's going on, I would turn around to the management and be like, excuse me, you want to talk about this? You're really going to look the other way from them because they're smaller? How dare you? We're talking about this right now. I don't get why people don't care to do that. Why are you so selfish? I'm going to crash out. I'm not going to make it through this video. Damn it.
YouTubing community was made aware about this, about Aster's behavior internally. And instead of Nijisanji making a statement about this document regarding Luca or Aster, we only heard crickets because Nijisanji was in full radio silence until May. On May 29th, 2024, 2 months after Raziel had posted her document, she tweeted, I was just served a cease and desist from Anycolor Inc. in paper, Anycolor being the parent company of Nijisanji. I fully intend to comply with it as I have until now and will continue to into the future. That is all I will share on the matter. Thank you. So Nijisanji had sent a team of lawyers after Raziel with a cease and desist letter, and if she didn't comply and take down the Google document, she would face the wrath of their lawyers. To many, this was an admission of guilt, them saying, yeah, everything this document's true, please get the hell out of here. But of course, the information was already out there, and this did nothing more but raise even more awareness about...
Well, and that's the thing of it, is, yeah, it does sure look like an admission of guilt because you're not saying anything public. If there really is nothing to hide, you making a public statement about it shouldn't be that big of an issue. Sure, there's going to be assholes online that will just assume what they want to about stuff. Whatever. There's idiot moron adults who for some reason never learned to actually listen to people, and they just make up shit, and then they tell their wind tunnel of their followers exactly what they need to know, or whatever. But for thinking adults, for mature, responsible people who are able to rationalize what's going on, if the information's already out there and then you hear crickets from the people responsible, and then this person has the ability to say publicly, by the way, they're trying to silence me. Do you really think that's going to help anything at all? God.
The document, staining their reputation further. But in that cease and desist that Raziel had received, there was this section that said that any color takes its responsibility towards employees and those it manages and treats any allegations of misconduct seriously. It reacts appropriately to any allegations brought to its attention, including via personal consultations with its human resources and or legal representatives, and since April 12th, 2024, so 2 weeks after Raziel's document came out, through its internal whistleblowing policy for livers. Whoa, was Nijisanji actually taking this seriously? Were they taking steps to fix their internal toxic culture now that it's been brought up publicly? Just keep this paragraph in mind for later, okay? I'm sure you can guess where this is going. But regardless, even
if that's truly the case, you could just say that little blurb and be like, we understand what you're saying, and we are taking this very seriously, and we're looking into this. That is all you had to say. And that doesn't sound like an omission of guilt. That looks like you're actually looking into it. I mean, am I wrong? Tell me in the comments if I'm wrong. I'm just saying, this doesn't make any sense to me. This doesn't make any sense to me. Why go crickets about it? There's times I've made mistakes, and I've tried to come through, like, before, probably anyone would even think about it, to be like, hey, this is what happened. I'm sorry about this. Or, hey, this little thing happened. I'd want to talk about it immediately. I just don't get why you would do... Okay.
After this document had come out, Aster Arcadia would continue to stream regularly. This hadn't made enough of a dent in Nijisanji's management, and hadn't really affected Aster Arcadia's reputation as much as the victims were hoping it would. And to be fair, it couldn't, because unlike Luca, there was no proof regarding Aster until September 2024. On September 19th, 2024,
when I had a mental breakdown and went on Twitch, it was because Aster was saying he wants to fly me out, saying weird stuff. Being a pest with my friends, I went to management. They wouldn't even speak to him. I was really considering graduating. Yeah, that's horrible. I mean, I've had a few coworkers where I go in, not at my current job, but in previous jobs, where once I know that they're working that day, I'm like, oh God, just get me away from them. Not even that they were doing anything bad. That's half the reason why I didn't say anything. But it was like, you're just sitting there like, oh my gosh, I don't like you. I don't want to be around you. I don't want to come into work today if I'm working with you. Yuck.
VTuber at Nijisanji would vent to someone that she thought was a friend about her experiences with Aster Arcadia, revealing many things to us about how he was flirty when she told him to stop, wanting to fly her out to Japan so that they can stay in the same hotel room, and doing that to her friend who was not even a VTuber and was clearly a Nijisanji fan, very openly taking advantage of that. Now around November, that person who she thought was a friend would reach out to the YouTuber False ID, showing him those messages. This was done without this VTuber's permission. This completely endangered her position at Nijisanji, because she knew that even if she censored her name and remained anonymous, Nijisanji would eventually find out exactly who she was. Shit. But seeing that her friend had already broken her trust and reached out to False ID, she thought, you know what, might as well see this through to the end. So she also reached out saying, hey, thanks for accepting my request. Blank, which was her friend, told me he sent you some things and I was wondering if you'd be able to have a call with me, to which False ID said, sure, not a problem, what time works for you? That VTuber would then give even more details as to how she was badly treated by Aster Arcadia and how much of a sex pest he truly was internally in the company. All of this culminated into the bombshell drop of a video on December 6, 2024, in which False ID for one of the first times would reveal to the world the true depth of Aster Arcadia's very problematic behavior and how Nijisanji management has been repeatedly covering for him. As this was going on, many people made correlations between his current behavior and his past behavior before even joining Nijisanji, with many concluding that he used to go by the name Xigneon, a VR chat content creator that also exhibited a lot of this very problematic behavior with
nice
his peers.
Censor right there.
This
we
video dropped a nuclear bomb
in
the VTuber community, with many content creators also picking up the story, including myself, and it eventually reached further beyond the VTuber demographic, even reaching the mainstream. This absolutely forced Nijisanji to
Well, there you go. See, you use your platform to be like, hey, we're talking about this. Jeez. Also, to be clear, whenever I've like incorrectly said something to someone, like jumped the gun to say something about my assumptions about things, I've come back around to apologize for stuff like that. That's more what I meant with me messing up and trying to get ahead of it and being like, whoops, I said something wrong. Like when I looked at a VTuber group that I thought some of their visuals were AI generated, just with how some of it popped in on the video itself, only to go back to their Twitter and see a video of how they made all their stuff. And I realized, oh, shoot, I'm wrong. So that kind of thing. And I also had a moment where I jumped on covering a rap beef between two creatives. And I made a video about it immediately because I heard my name mentioned. And I was like, oh my gosh, I want to talk about this, without even asking either of those guys if I could talk about it and make a video on it. And I felt very horrified that I just jumped for like, I want to talk about this. And they were like, we kind of wanted to keep it close to the chest and not really blow it out of proportion. So I deleted the video, but still, it was too much too late. So it's crazy, though, that it had to be a third-party person. How much more of an impact would it have been if it was someone like Luca being like, we need to talk about this now? Dude, you're not going to really be able to shut him up. Or if you do try to shut him up, try and shut up your golden boy, then that would have been even worse for them. So, regarding the recent controversy, Any Color has determined the following course of action. We have initiated an independent third-party investigation into these issues and will share the outcome with our livers and our community. Well, I certainly hope they do. This investigation will focus on the issues of harassment and unauthorized information leakage to outside parties that will include a thorough review of company policies and their implementation. Based on the outcome of the investigation, appropriate disciplinary actions will be taken. Oof.
Put out some sort of a statement, and they couldn't stay silent on it like they were about the Luca Kaneshiro document.
Yeah, we fans appreciate the straightforward update.
3 days after False ID's video came out, they tweeted out, "Thank you for your continued support of Nijisanji and Nijisanji EN. Regarding the recent controversy, Any Color has determined the following course of action. We have initiated an independent third-party investigation into these issues and will share the outcome with our livers and our community. This investigation will focus on the issues of sexual harassment and unauthorized information leakage to outside parties and will include a thorough review of company policies and their implementation. Based on the outcome of this investigation, appropriate disciplinary actions will be taken, and updated policies will be shared with our livers and our community. Any Color is committed to a safe and community-focused environment free from any type of inappropriate behavior." So of course, some people thought that, yeah, this was a step in the right direction to conduct an investigation, but others quickly pointed out, wait, what is this sentence over here? The investigation will focus on the issues of sexual harassment and unauthorized information leakage to outside parties. Why is this even a concern? Like, this shouldn't even be part of the investigation. Like, you need to set your priorities straight here. Like, so many were predicting that this
private info about company whereabouts or projects that they're doing, which maybe if it fell into the wrong hand. See, this is me trying to look at the positives and try and see how maybe it's a good thing, but I don't know. So, I mean, unauthorized information leakage. You have a lot of, like, names, doxing someone, maybe selling it for money. That's what I was thinking. Like black market deals for the information that you have as a liver. I don't know.
Was going to suffer the wrath of Nijisanji, and Aster was going to continue doing what he always did. But it actually wasn't fully the case. The next day, Aster was supposed to go live with a cooking stream and a huge announcement. He then delayed it by a week and said this in his chat: "I will have to postpone the cooking stream, sorry. Missing some stuff and setup is complicated. Thank you for your understanding." He then delayed it again and again and again and again, and today we're at 7 different delays, with the most recent one being July 24th, 2025, the 3rd anniversary of his debut. I think it's very safe to say that
I think it's very interesting too that False ID would go about it, not even accusatory, but just like, yeah, this is however many times he's delayed it. Interesting.
stream is most likely not happening, but regardless, he hasn't streamed a single time since
Maybe
False
his
ID's
cooking
video
was that
came
bad. He
out.
might have
And
burnt down his
speaking of that
kitchen.
video, the victim in question, the Nijisanji VTuber, had their name clearly censored. This was in an effort to protect their identity so that Nijisanji doesn't punish them. Many other YouTubers did their best to censor the name as well, but unfortunately, in the end, it didn't matter one bit. That friend who had initially reached out to False ID on that VTuber's behalf without asking her permission leaked over.
Wait. This is a transcript of various messages leaked by Frank, alias Idiot, alias K626, sent between him and ORS. Oh, okay. I thought that was Twisty. I was like, what the heck are these names? Anyway. Jeez.
100 pages of chat logs involving this VTuber on 4chan. Not even joking. Look at this. Look at all these messages, bro. It's insane. The secret was out. The VTuber in question was none other than Twisty Amanozako, someone who had only a few months prior joined Nijisanji and was now going to be in very big trouble. In these chat logs, she also revealed.
That's right.
Some other very worrying things, like how, for example, Nijisanji had encouraged her to go all out on her debut, asking for the best quality model, the best assets, the best everything, and her later finding out that this would be subtracted from her pay. She was essentially $10,000 in debt to Nijisanji. Every month, the majority of her paycheck would go towards paying that debt, so she was making no money whatsoever. Yet again, showing us just how much of an amazing company Nijisanji is. But who is Twisty Amanozako really? Well, we've already established that she's an English Nijisanji VTuber. Her debut was under the Denouth wave, I think that's how you spell it, alongside two other members. Their debut was officially on May 25th, 2024. So think about this. She wasn't even there for 6 months before Aster decided to make a move on her. It was almost instantaneous. As soon as she had joined, the Predator made his move. And speaking of Aster,
speaking as someone who's only had general experience in psychology, are these predatory guys just seeing the game as more important? Like that's the whole of what makes you feel great as a guy? Oh, I just got to get as many people as I can, instead of actually finding one person who actually genuinely cares about you? Because for the rest of us, that's hard enough as it is to find, or feel like you could be open to experience. What is this deal of just making a move on everybody? What is your problem? How insignificant are your actual relationships in life that you have to be like, I gotta do more. I gotta make sure everyone is just rizzed up by me.
Definitely a household name for Nijisanji. He's by no means the biggest Nijisanji VTuber. He's not even comparable to someone like Luca Kaneshiro, but he was very popular throughout his debut before Nijisanji's reputation took a dump, and still is a very recognizable name today. In comparison, Twisty was dealt a very bad hand. Her debut was barely a couple months after the first initial sell-in catastrophe, so she joined the company at its lowest point. She had a fan base, but it wasn't much in comparison to Luca, and shortly after False ID's video about Aster Arcadia came out, she all of a sudden went radio silent. She stopped streaming on her channel. She stopped showing up on collabs. That's when she would all of a sudden announce an indefinite hiatus.
Well, and that's, I mean, even if you weren't doing that, to try and build up that steam and then just not participate in it, that's career suicide. That's horrible.
Something usually reserved for very big life events that are uncontrollable. People were hoping for the best, but they were expecting the worst. Because based on past events with this company, I mean, why wouldn't they? We wouldn't hear from her or ask her for almost a year until June 2025. When she would go live playing League of Legends on her PL account. PL referring to past life. In the VTubing community, this means the account or persona you used before becoming a corporate VTuber. In this case, Twisty's PL account is none other than Delulu Deliria. And this was a very big deal because under Nijisanji's contract, you are strictly prohibited from creating any sort of content outside of your Nijisanji persona. You can't tweet on your past life account. You cannot stream on your past life account. You can't even play a game with someone else who's streaming unless you're your Nijisanji persona. This is a big breach of contract, and it made people think, wait, was she kicked out?
So one thing I'll say with this, because I feel like whenever we have these kinds of conversations online, there's always going to be someone that's like, But if they felt like that's all they could do and they were in such a toxic workplace, they should be able to do it. But if you still breached your contract, I still think there's ways that if you have to speak up about something, there's a way that you don't have to. It's like you can infiltrate the problem without burning a bridge. It's the same thing with when some people will get angry about something and they'll just say whatever they want to say, full of slurs and whatever, bad language they want to say, and maybe they get the point across. Well, to turn around and be like, well, you know what? I was right for saying all of those things because it got the point across. Well, no, there's a way you can still get the point across without going, way too far. And I feel like this is just such a bad route. But this is also me, who I frequently feel like closing myself off. Don't poke any bears you don't have to, and then do what you can to quietly work through the system in order to get to where you need to go. I feel like it's done me pretty good in this life. Just saying.
Were concerned for her until 4 days later, when this video would be published on YouTube, in which you can hear her say the most vile and crazy things imaginable in a leaked voice call.
So now that I've seen her outfit and everything, I think I saw a snippet of a video where she was talking. I thought for some reason, because this model and the other one were also cyan colored, I thought it was someone else. But now that I'm thinking about it, I think that was Twisty. I didn't even get 20 seconds into that video. And just the stuff they talked about with the other person, I was sitting there like, who thinks this way? Like, this can't be real. Of course it is, but,
I downloaded this as soon as it came out because I knew YouTube was going to remove it, and hey, they did. So I came prepared. The video starts off with context, saying Twisty is talking
nice. Good job on you for just putting text on there instead of reposting the video, because that'll not do you any good.
Her friend about one of her fans named Epic, who is Indian. I think you can already tell where this is going, right? It's starting off strong. There are subtitles in this video, and whenever they're green, it means that Twisty is talking. It's 7 minutes, 45 seconds long, and I'm going to show you the 3 main, most important clips. You'll understand what I mean, starting with the first one. Watch.
Twitter's useless, but just to basically
me talking to Epic for like an entire 2 hours, but it's not that bad, I guess.
Well, talking to an Indian sounds pretty terrible.
Okay.
What the hell?
God, dude.
Yeah. Don't be a red light, okay?
Well, I hate Epic and I hate his kind, so.
Ever since, I feel
Who
like
the hell
did
even
you say
thinks this
something to
way?
me? Because he stopped sending me stuff.
This was the clip. Oh no. Oh no. This made me sick. Shit. Okay, I don't want to hear this again, but we're just gonna keep going here.
Like money or what?
No.
A bear or Epic? I don't remember saying anything to Epic, but I probably have called it. I've definitely called him a creep, but I don't know how recent.
Then he just stopped, and then
Like, I definitely haven't spoken to him in months.
Like, I have so many
I
questions.
think Epic is like attached to my she model.
I think so too.
Like, just the...
Plus it was like,
But let's stop the whole sentence right there. That whole other thing of like, oh, he stopped sending me stuff. And then the other person just so nonchalantly is like, oh, like money or what? What kind of relationship's that? Oh, no, he was sending me, adult stuff. What even is any of that? That doesn't make any sense to me, first and foremost. That's where I was like, I'm done. I don't know what these people do. Like, what is this stuff? This is so weird to me. Not to yuck the yum, but I'm about to throw up. So, sorry. There's going to be a lot of yuck all over the place.
I think he's a pedophile and an Indian.
I cannot wait to meet him, Myro.
And who the hell's that dude?
Should have like a little meet and greet.
he's really like she.
Is Epic living?
Yeah, why?
I swear to God, if he shows up to my meet and greet, I'm gonna kill myself. I'm not even kidding.
Wait, why?
What the hell?
Okay, I'm sure he's not gonna go, maybe. I don't know.
I don't know how far it is from him, but I feel like solely to piss me off, that is something he would do.
What the hell is
People
that?
like Epic and Bear should honestly not.
Right, so I'm sure that's already one hell of a way to start the video. Insulting over 1 billion people, talking so badly about someone who's supposedly your fan. Now listen, I get making
I just wait.
fun of people who are parasocial, who think that VTuber streamers are actually their VTuber IRL and they're in love with an anime girl. Yeah, sure. I mean, it's fun to make fun of people like that. But
I don't know, boss. I'm gonna have to not side with you on that. Because here's the thing: what the hell does it help anything? Like, seriously, I don't know. I guess as far as I've been concerned, I have never understood just like making fun of a group of people for clearly a issue that they have. Like, I don't know. Maybe it's because I've been through some stuff, and I'm glad that no one turned around and made fun of me for it. I don't know. I guess I just feel like, why the hell do we even do any of that? Why don't we just try and help people? Why don't we just try and steer people in a more healthy direction instead of being like, oh yeah, it's fun to make fun of people? I get some people are honestly just doing it for fun. Hell, I've made jokes before just in the heat of the moment because I'm with people who we might all have an understanding that we don't mean any harm onto those folks. But at the same time, it's the fucking internet that is just rife with people who do not care about anything except themselves. And it's so funny because you call those people out on it and they're like, yo, I'm just saying, why are you attacking me? And I'm like, oh, I don't know, because you did that to somebody else and you can't take what you're giving. So just shut the hell up if you can't. I'm crashing out here.
to say that he smells like curry just because he's Indian and going ahead and insulting his entire race is definitely wild. But hey, we're only getting started. Here's the next clip.
Oh, fuck.
You should get her free tickets as a birthday present.
I don't even think I can get myself.
Free tickets sounds fun.
Why not?
Because my company hates me.
Oh, you can't even get it. Jeez.
I feel like you overlook that factor a lot.
Oh my god.
Wife, the new fucking Brave group wave is so bad. I'm actually like shocked. I don't know how the fuck they got in, because genuinely, it's like the worst I've ever seen.
What the
Like, the one girl,
Oh,
she
dude.
literally, I need to send you her videos. I'm not even being mean, wife. Like, I'm genuinely, like, shocked. And kind of pissed off. I don't even get a fucking call back. And this girl, who, literally, the worst I've ever seen. I'm not kidding. Like, it's bad.
Wait,
She
what
has,
are you
like,
talking about?
trans rights in her Twitter bio.
Here I was worried that maybe you might just be unhinged about someone's model looking bad or something, or maybe their debut seems a little cheesy or something. But if you're going to say, oh, she's just so bad because you don't like her as a person, like, shut the hell up. Listen, there's plenty of people that I don't even agree with in their lifestyles or their choices or what have you, or what they do or whatever. But that has no merit on how I treat them as people. Like, being not siding with every single thing that someone does doesn't mean that you have to hate them. And God, it's just so annoying. I can't understand why people do this shit.
Which I feel like should be a red flag for any VTuber company if you're talking about that stuff publicly.
As opposed to harassing other people as a presumably straight person. Treating people poorly is treating people poorly. It doesn't matter how you identify. And that is where I will equally hate everybody who does that kind of thing. It's not because, oh, you're transphobic or, oh, you hate women. No, it's I hate horrible behavior. And if you're going to be that kind of person, you don't deserve any support for what you're doing. God, I hate that avenue that people get into where it's like, oh, well, you know, someone's this, so they're clearly going to act this way, as opposed to you gossiping about other people and calling people out and being racist to other people, because that's totally fine. At least they're not trans. Shut the hell up.
Wait,
And she
Wait.
doesn't really stream, but she uploaded some YouTube videos. And
Wait, are
there's
they, like-
really
are
terrible
they-
covers.
Oh, shut your
Are
mouth.
they like,
Let's see what covers you do.
like Niji movie?
No, Brave Group.
Oh,
Yeah, I want to see your multi-million
I bet
view
she's for the
videos of
new
your own
wave. It's
covers
gonna
because
be
you're such a
decent.
great singer.
I don't know, maybe they saw something and
Exactly.
I don't know what the fuck they would see in her. Like, they must be blind.
Are you not aware that you use models in your industry? Yeah, you are blind to the person. You don't even see them. They're playing a model, a character. I'm gosh. I don't even know if what I'm saying makes any sense. This is why I don't really dive into this kind of stuff, but then it's so painfully fascinating. I'm like, what even is your issue?
Well, I don't know. It's objective. Okay.
No,
It is
like,
objective.
objectively, it's really bad, wife. Like,
First of all, I would not like being called that in any sort of context. If it oh no, it's really bad. It's just, oh my gosh, just, oh, okay, yeah, this is getting worse. I hate this. I'm so angry.
I don't know. It's objective. Okay.
no,
is
like,
objective.
objectively, it's really bad, wife.
No.
Like, I will send you it and you'll understand.
Shut
Like,
your friggin' mouth.
it is just very bad.
Okay, but it's because the company, like, they really want to make money, right? So they're looking for people that
Yeah.
can do the lewd ASMR.
I don't even think this girl can do lewd ASMR. Or do you mean?
Can she, though, or not? How about you shut your mouth until you figure out if she can or not? Oh, I feel like that's half of our issue with online harassment and bullying and stuff in general. People don't even know the people that they're harassing. The best you could probably do is at least have watched something about them instead of being like, no, I don't think you can do that. Well, you don't even know. What the hell's your issue?
Like the one you're talking about.
Oh, no. I'm just talking about the CEO person.
Oh yeah.
Lewd ASMR. How about she is, like, cute in her own way?
Whoever the person is in blue is very
She's
nice.
not cute in her own way, wife. I'm not kidding. Like, I could not get through this. Like, it's really bad. Like,
Bro,
it's
your preferences mean nothing. It really means nothing. It's the same reason why I don't understand why people will argue about music because, well, I like it, so it's good. Well, I don't like it, so it's bad. Do you know how little that matters? Because your own tastes and preferences are going to change with time anyway. You're not going to have the same preferences you did when you were a kid or even when you're a young adult. It's just going to change with time. So if truly your litmus test for something being actually good or bad is your enjoyment of it, that makes no sense. You couldn't pick a worse litmus test for quality than that.
I'm not kidding. Like, I could not get through this. Like, it's really
what?
bad. Like, it's shock. I cannot believe that she was hired. Like, not even like
I can't
just
believe
being
you were
mean
hired.
because I'm transphobic.
No,
Like,
part of it's that.
no, it's not. You watched the video.
Bro, I swear, man, I can't believe this person got a call back and I didn't, man. And I swear, it's not because I'm trans. But she does have a trans flag in her
the
bio,
lack
and that
of
is a red flag.
realization.
So look, Brave Group is another VTuber agency. She's clearly salty that they didn't call her back, and she had to eventually
You don't
settle
deserve it.
for Nijisanji. So it's her taking out her anger at one of the people that got accepted for the new wave. The way she said it, though, didn't sit right with a lot of the VTuber community, and we'll
As
get
it
to that
shouldn't.
later. But there's one more clip here, and this to many was the final nail in the coffin. Watch.
Shit.
I think it's cute. Well, your legs are really long, though.
They're so, it doesn't make sense because the upper like half of my body is so compact and then you just have the longest fucking legs on the planet. Like, it just doesn't make any sense.
He kind of look like me.
What?
Cause I have like the.
On your
Remember,
shoe
like
model?
the raccoon wanted me to have like.
Oh yeah, he
big,
wanted you to have long,
legs.
sexy legs.
Yeah, but I think I like you.
It's literally only because their audience are all Twitter trends and they don't want to piss them off, which is weird because none of those people watch me anyways. So why should I care about like them being pissed off? Like, it's so stupid.
Why should they care about you being pissed off?
Then why'd they hire me?
For fun?
Like, maybe they could have looked into the future and like realized that the girl who talked about wanting to be a lolly wanted to be a lolly. I don't know. That just kind of seems weird to me.
I feel like it was pretty.
Oh my gosh. The lack of awareness. Like, you're not even aware of how stupid this sounds. Arguing that certain body types are only supposed to be a certain way. It's the same thing when people argue about, oh, well, women don't look like this or this doesn't exist. Have you been outside? Go to a mall for an afternoon and you're going to see every body shape and size and all sorts of different personality types. You're going to see short, petite women who are flat and act goofy and silly. If you really and truly think that that somehow is indicative of the types of things that we've been talking about here, and that's somehow a bad thing or whatever. You just don't understand how human people work. And they just march and declare it as though everybody knows it's true on sites like Twitter, which doesn't make any sense to me. I'm like, just because you have an ignorance parade doesn't mean that you're suddenly right just because you have 20 people that agree with you. I'm losing my absolute mind right now. I'm losing my mind. The lack of awareness that this person has, and then just being so bitter about something that they're like, well, why didn't they hire me? Listen to how you're talking right now. You are a terrible person. What is your deal?
Pretty obvious that they knew that based on what they were talking to you about.
Okay, no, it's because they want
they
to
just-
hire you, right? But then they're like, okay,
They just
we
lied to me
can't
pretty
do
much.
it.
They literally just lied to me.
No, it's because they wanted to hire you.
Yeah, so they lied.
So then you're so insecure about yourself that you're constantly thinking your own management doesn't actually care about you. That is a serious you problem that you need to get over. You need to either take some time, get some therapy for it, or actually listen to what your friends are telling you. They are giving you the truth of the matter, that they hire you because they want you. And if you keep thinking, oh, well, no, they lied to me, they don't really care, well, then what the hell are you doing? Go do something else then. It's just, oh my gosh.
It's fine. You can get a lolly model next time.
They're never gonna give me a fucking only model. Like, it makes me so mad.
It makes me so mad. Well, then buy one yourself. Go indie then. I'm okay.
And everybody wonders why I don't want to stream. Like, my fans are fucking retarded, and they're upset that I spam collabs all day. Have you ever considered it's because none of you like send me any money at all?
Oh my gosh. You entitled. You are so disgusting. You are so disgusting. Oh my gosh. That is filthy. That is absolutely filthy. But you never send me any money, so I'm not going to do anything that you want. Oh my God. You don't deserve a platform. You do not deserve a platform. This is how I think 80% of Twitter operates. Like, literally every argument, and people act like it's truly their right to demand whatever they want from people. And if not, they're not going to give. They're not going to be respectful. They're not going to be courteous. They're not going to be generous. They're not going to use any of their talents for anybody else's enjoyment unless they can make something off of it. None of you deserve any support if that's how you operate. I am disgusted.
Like, it's just crazy to me that they don't understand, like, the connection. And I mean, I can't blame them because they're all like underage kids and that's Nijisanji's fan base, but why do you want to pander to those people? Give us ugly models that they pay nothing for. Take all of our income. Like,
Weird.
I'm so sick of pronouns. You're so fucking lame. Why are all men just men?
Wait. So you went from being upset at your fan base, which you're assuming is all underage, which is why they're not giving you money or something? Or getting... What? First of all, regardless of age, you can be really excited by a particular model and a character and stuff. I mean, look at how many people love the Sonic the Sonic characters. A lot of kids are like that too, you know? And I genuinely don't like a lot of the designs for Sonic characters, but I understand a lot of people like them, and you know, a lot of people as adults love them as kids. Like, so you're arguing that the fans are just a bunch of young kids, even though you have the YouTube demographic information right there. I can look at my watch audience's demographics easily. Okay, but we're assuming that, and then we're saying all men now. All men are mentally ill. Why? Because they're not giving you money? How absurd is that nonsense?
Why are all men just mentally ill?
Why are women like you so entitled?
I don't know.
Like, they're
you,
literally
not
all
all
the same.
women.
Bear has a fucking mental breakdown because he thinks that we're actually dating or something. And he messages me and spams me nonstop because he can't understand.
Okay, guys are just, I'm gonna put
Yeah, men are mentally ill, and I think they should all die, honestly.
All right, what a video, right? Yes, excuse the censorship, otherwise YouTube is going to take down this video too. But in a nutshell, near the end, you can see Twisty insulting both Bear and Drinos. From what I know, they're her top donators, and of course, are probably very parasocial. But again, the reaction that was exhibited...
Because, well, here's the thing about it, is you'll get people who will look at situations like this and be like, yeah, so she was totally in the right. She was defending herself, because some people are very bad in parasocial relationships. That's true. You don't have to respond to this, though. You don't have to respond in that way, though. If that's how you think that you have to act in order to be your own advocate and distance yourself from parasocial relationships, that's not the answer. That's not the takeaway that we should have in these types of situations. Now, I'm not saying that the answer is to just very calmly and nicely be like, hey, I don't like it when you do that. You can be your own advocate and put your foot down without being a doormat, and also without burning bridges and calling people slurs. There is a middle ground. It's just most of us don't talk about that. We don't. We just think any sort of response that gets the impact you want, that's what actually works. It's the same thing when I worked in like mental health circles, in early childhood development circles. There's a lot of cases where some grown-ups or parental figures or someone looking after the kid thinks, oh, if I give him the iPad all day, he stops crying and throwing things. So it works, right? And we're like, no, there's other ways to do this. And we need to bring, because that is not healthy, ultimately. You need to be able to function in society and not just stare at an iPad all day. So anyway, just...
from her here is way over the top, saying that all men should, cease to exist. As you can imagine, this blew up the VTuber community. Yet another Nijisanji VTuber was able to do that. And so on the same exact day this video came out, she put out a statement on her PL Twitter account, saying, "This is something I have been reflecting on long before today. I know not everyone will agree with my decision to post this, but I feel like my fans and the people hurt by my words deserve clarity and an apology," linking an even bigger statement.
Well, so, at least so far, and this is me again trying to look for the positives, if she decided to just jump onto this ahead of time, then maybe that's a little bit of a point. But it seems like from what she said before, she just either was just crashing out so hard she wasn't even aware of what she was saying. I don't know why I'm even trying to do this. I feel like as I'm saying this, I'm like, no, that's not who she is. Okay.
Saying, "A recording of me from almost a year ago was leaked, and I want to address that to the best of my ability today. What I said was hateful, cruel, and insanely inappropriate, racist, transphobic, and honestly just straight up mean. I don't want to try to make excuses, regardless of what I was angry about or dealing with. Those words were wrong, and I want to fully own up to it. That conversation came from a place of protectiveness and frustration over how someone close to me was being treated. But regardless, that doesn't excuse the language I used, and I'm sorry that my anger boiled over into something so ugly and so hurtful to many. To me, words were always just words. There was never any deeper meaning to anything. I felt..."
And I will at least give some of us that. When I was a kid, we used to say whatever and use words that we didn't think held any merit because we didn't know anyone in those circles. We didn't even know that that kind of thing existed. Weirdly enough, I mean, in the 90s, we didn't know any people who were gay, right? So we would be like, man, that's gay. It just became a term of like, whatever. Or retarded. And funnily enough, when I was diagnosed with autism, the immediate thought I had when I sat there was like, should I feel offended at myself? Because I said that as a kid, because we didn't know anyone who had special needs. And even if we did, we wouldn't have ever held that as a bad word for them. We just used it because it was a word and we didn't think there was any issue with it. But of course, you grow up and you understand there's people that can be hurt by those things, so just don't say those things. That's what I do. Anyway.
Felt that if you had the ability to speak, why not say whatever you want? I never really questioned the thoughts nor beliefs I grew up with until very recently. I've luckily been able to meet some kind-hearted and wonderful people that pushed, supported, and urged me to become better and grow as a person. I started to realize how much power words carry. They are able to hurt people, inflict and reinforce harm, and even make people feel unsafe, even if I didn't mean it that way.
And that is the same reason why I don't side with people who are just joking. Or the same thing when someone, trashes an album, or they trash a VTuber model, or they trash a piece of music, and they're like, really what they're saying is, I don't like this, but they go around saying, well, this person's trash. They're a trash rapper. They're a trash artist. You don't understand how many artists and entertainers and musicians lose heart because people say that kind of thing because they can't be bothered to just be like, oh, I don't really like it. And then actually be able to go listen to something else instead of continually trashing someone you don't like. That's why I don't think that it's okay to just say whatever about people, because your words do affect people. And it's not a woke sign to be like, hey, let's kind of be respectful. Anyway.
I feel that over the past few months, I have come to understand that being careless doesn't mean my actions are not harmful. To me, growth is about unlearning things, listening, and actually thinking before I speak, and learning how to take responsibility for my actions. After gaining these new friends who were able to correct and educate me on all of the things I had done wrong, I realized that words are not just words, and they can hold meanings that are able to affect the lives of others. I've had a lot of time to reflect on how I speak and how I treat people, and I fully intend to be better. As someone who lives in America, even just in 2025 alone, I have witnessed many injustices towards marginalized communities, things that I cannot unsee or ignore.
Saying the right
Growing up,
things
I was
here.
surrounded by certain attitudes and beliefs that I never questioned. I took them as normal, even though they were rooted in ignorance and bias.
Yeah.
When my mom found out that I didn't vote for the hateful and oppressive president she supported, she nearly disowned me. That moment really shook me because it made me realize how much my identity had been shaped by trying to meet other people's expectations or avoid conflict.
Here's the other thing about that too. Politically speaking, as someone who generally leans more conservatively, I would rather have the ability to provide for myself and my family. I don't want to be supported by anybody else. That's as far as I go with that. And I will tell you, compared to how things were when I first started to vote, compared to how things are now, it has gotten so much more divided and the lines have blurred so much. I don't even affiliate with one party or another most of the time, because it's like sometimes the person who I might have voted for believes in something totally different that I don't agree with. And then the person who I wouldn't have voted for just based on policy or party name alone ends up having principles that I might agree with. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So that's the one thing I'll say, politically speaking.
It was the first time I truly stood my ground on something I believed in, even when it cost me. That experience pushed me to start thinking for myself more critically, to ask why I believed what I believed, and to recognize how easy it is to stay complicit in harmful systems when you're just going along with what you've always been taught. Look, we're halfway through, but so far, this apology would have maybe worked like 10 years ago, but today, even ChatGPT can come up with something better. Anyway, second.
Well, so be that as it may, are they sincere? That's the only thing I care about. I feel like this would have been fine. But this again, okay, admittedly, I am trying to look at the positives. I'm trying to be hopeful for an actual change here. But if that's, because, okay, you're saying it would have worked 10 years ago. Well, nowadays, people will say, well, I'm sorry that what I said hurt other people, and I'm sorry that you thought that I was saying something mean. The fact they actually said, I am sorry, and this is what did have me in that mindset way back when. And I've learned that that's a harmful thing to do, and I'm sorry that I hurt people. I don't understand how that's such an old-fashioned route to go. But let's just see what happens here.
But I feel that this past year has been a turning point. With the help of my friends who have educated me and shared their experiences, I've started to really understand just how much harm those old ways of thinking can cause. I have made the choice to turn away from what I was raised on and to actively unlearn all of that harmful rhetoric. Maybe it's dumb to say because this conversation happened not that long ago. Yeah, this voice call was from December 2024, so 6 months ago. Anyway, she continues, but even in the small period since
so first of all, she didn't meet it head on. It was 6 months later. That's kind of sucky. Okay. We're already slipping off the cliff here.
This incident occurred, I do think I have started to grow more as a person. I want to be absolutely 100% clear on this. Despite all of the awful things I said, I have never truly held those views, and to this day I still do not. The words I used were ignorant and deeply hateful, but I do not believe they represent my actual beliefs or values. Racist, transphobic, violent, or otherwise any type of dehumanizing language has no place in the community I would like to create. Even in moments of frustration or anger or anything, saying those things was unacceptable, and I am deeply ashamed of myself. I know a lot of people see me as based or want to put their views and feelings onto me, but that is not the type of person I am. I'm just a girl who wants to stream and have fun with her friends and fans, thinking about cute seals and cute girls. I have never and will never promote that type of behavior to my fans, and I regret setting a bad example for them.
So if she ever did say anything like that currently, well then yeah, we could easily see, no, you do more than just have a burst of anger and then say a bunch of stuff. And she didn't sound like she was just just boiling over the whole time during that voice call. There was plenty of silence between them as she was able to ruminate on what she was thinking. It's just, regardless of how much we might be trying to pick apart the apology, we'd have to actually see what actions back that up or not.
I also want to clarify a few things. I do not hate my fans. What I said was in a moment of burnout and bitterness aimed at the people who spam me for specific content while not respecting or giving me value as a person.
That is part of this. I mean, it's the same thing with people talking parasocial stuff. It's not like it's never partially true, right? It's just the answer that we come to, whether we swing the pendulum all the way one way or all the way another. It's never a one-sided thing. If she did have that experience, that is still valid, even though her response to it is not.
That frustration turned into a generalization, and that's my responsibility. It doesn't make those words okay, and I'm deeply sorry to everyone I hurt by saying them.
Okay, there
I have
you go.
nothing but respect and admiration for artists. I never wanted to demean anyone's work. In the whole conversation that was emitted from the clip, I was talking about how much I wish I could have different model proportions, such as those this artist draws so beautifully. I really have a lot of love and respect for their work and have always been extremely vocal about this. I am unable to fully clarify the contents of my original statement there, but I want to reiterate that it had absolutely nothing to do with the beyond wonderful art. I know that there's no perfect way to apologize, and some people won't be able to forgive me, and that is 100% okay. I'm honestly just extremely sorry it happened at all. I know this has disappointed many, some will never forgive me, and again, I genuinely cannot blame them. I'm sorry that I ever said these things, and I will keep doing the work to make sure that I never say them again. Thank you to those who stood up to me, and to those who have called me out on it. I am paying attention and I'm learning. I'm trying to move forward as the person I want to be, not the person I was on that call. There are a lot of things I wish I could address, but I'm unable to. For what I have said, I tend to struggle with words, so I hope that I was able to convey my feelings properly to you. I'm going to be taking some time and stepping back to focus on myself and take this seriously. I genuinely never want to be that person again. To those groups I hurt, to my fans, and to anybody else affected, I truly apologize. Anyway, don't come up with your opinion just yet because there's way more to this story, but this was her initial apology. And I'd say by now, the community was divided in two camps. The first camp...
We all have bad days, but doesn't mean we should be throwing a tantrum and saying racist and homophobic things. That is also true. And that's where that distinction lies, where it's like, sure, we can be compassionate and trying to be empathetic and being like, yeah, we all say stuff, and if you are apologizing, okay, but then also if you've been hurt, you've been there before, and it's easy to think, well, if you truly are a good person, you wouldn't say this stuff to begin with. That's a little bit absurd on that side of things. So trying to find that middle ground is just, yeah. You need... So then Azahara down there said, you need better friends if they're constantly leaking stuff, trying to mess you up. I mean, that could be part of it too. I don't know. Let's just keep going here.
Were people who were absolutely outraged at her words. Like this person replying here saying, we all have bad days, but doesn't mean we should be throwing a tantrum and saying racist and homophobic things while calling your fans broke. Do better. The other camp was calling her based and wanted to follow her socials until she apologized, saying things like, welp, this sucks. Thought we actually had a good one, but nah, she caved. Sucks. In fact, many of the hidden replies that I'm not going to click on fully support her and encourage her to continue being herself and not cave in to Twitter. Now look, I'm not...
It's the whole, oh my gosh, it's the same thing that iDubbbz fell into a little bit ago, where people were like somehow thinking he was so based for just saying whatever the heck he wanted to, as though we're all high schoolers. Because he came out with a new content cop video, which for some of you don't know was like a holiday on YouTube. Because we wanted to see people who were being terrible getting held accountable for it. And he would do that, and he didn't care what he had to say in order to present that. But then we did realize that he was saying a lot of stuff that you didn't need to say in order to try and get the message across. But people were like, oh, this was so great when I was in high school. And it's like, anyway.
Not here to teach you morals. I hope your parents did that. But the fact of the matter is, a majority, or hell, at least a big chunk of Nijisanji fans in general strongly identify with the LGBT community. Many of the ones that happen to watch female VTubers also happen to be men. And hell, I wouldn't be surprised if a sizable percentage of those men were Indian. This was Twisty giving the biggest, fattest, thickest middle finger to the entire demographic of Nijisanji, the corporation she represents. So when it came to her already existing community and fans, she had thrown them under the bus. A new demographic was welcoming her with open arms, but she refused that too. So essentially she had burned all her bridges. But she wasn't done talking just yet.
Oh, shoot.
She actually didn't take any breaks and would continue streaming on her PL account. At some point in her chat, she said, "It's okay, I'm retiring soon. We don't need intros or outros. We will be ASMR only. Nothing matters but ASMR." So people were thinking, oh wait, is she actually officially leaving Nijisanji now? But before they could answer that question or finish theorizing, a second black background stream had hit the Niji towers. This is in reference to the first black background stream that was done during the Selen controversy that proved to be catastrophic for the company's
Pandora.
reputation.
I was thinking
This
of someone
time
else.
though, it was Twisty on her PL account, live streaming for 30 minutes in a stream titled "A Sincere Apology and My Truth," currently sitting at almost 100,000 views. Now look, I know the video's long, don't worry, I wrote down the most important aspects of it. It wasn't an easy watch. She's speaking in her lolly voice and she's whispering to the microphone. This might as well be renamed to Indian Hating Girlfriend Apology ASMR or something.
Oh,
but
no.
deep in this apology, you will find a 1-minute clip of her confronting Aster Arcadia in a voice call, with him clearly replying to her with his voice. And of course, I'll make you listen to that. But before we get to that, what was the whole point of this video? Well, I'll tell you, but first I want you to listen to this 5-second clip because this is how she sounds like for the entirety of these 30 minutes.
Coming from someone who said all of that disgusting stuff, and I don't know, I guess.
Yeah, no, you're not crazy. It actually does sound that low. Anyway, she starts off the video reiterating the fact that she is a changed person, guys. That she now realizes the gravity of her mistakes, etc., etc. And then she gets into the juicy stuff, detailing her experience with Nijisanji. She says that Nijisanji had presented itself as a dream opportunity, but ended up being a nightmare. Unclear communication, delays, toxicity, and unprofessionalism. For the first 8 months, she had no steady income whatsoever because most of it was going towards the debt she had with Nijisanji. And to illustrate the toxicity, she gives us an example. She thought she had a friend within the company, showed them her new outfit that she was going to announce to everyone, and then that supposed friend shared her outfit 10 minutes before the stream, in which she actually reveals the outfit for the first time, completely ruining the surprise. I mean, at this point, pick. You want to work in the North Korean government or Nijisanji? It's practically the same thing. She then says on July 2024, she contacted Nijisanji management to let them know about a VTuber who has a history of preying on new hires, especially women. She was told no action would be taken, and that apparently such incidents have been brought up before multiple times involving that same VTuber. She wasn't the first one, and it seemed like she wasn't going to be the last at all. Management then made sure to specify never speak to anyone about this again. So her and a bunch of other coworkers who went through the same thing with Aster Arcadia got together and pleaded to management for them to take this seriously. Unfortunately though,
Wait. Hold on.
got together and pleaded, and a bunch of other coworkers who went through the same thing with Aster Arcadia got together.
A bunch of coworkers. I thought they name dropped some of the people who went to management.
And pleaded to management for them to take this seriously. Unfortunately though, it didn't do anything. Management was still doubling down and saying, nope, we can't do anything about this. Don't mention this again. She then talks about the false ID video. On November 2024, her supposed friend leaks many of her messages on 4chan, but nothing really happens to her until these videos start coming out. This is when Nijisanji would instruct her to take a break from her work, and an internal investigation began. According to her, 80% of the conversations with investigators were her explaining VTuber culture, how VTubers worked, and what this industry was about. And only 20% were her explaining her relationship with Aster and how he was harassing her and other women. When the call was done, the investigation team said they would follow up afterwards, and they never did. To this day, Twisty is convinced no real investigation ever took place inside Nijisanji. She even revealed something for the first time that we'd never heard of prior, which is the fact that Nijisanji at some point wanted to settle with her. They wanted to pay her an amount of money to shut her up, but she refused. If true, this is them pretty much admitting their guilt. Then she starts talking about...
Part of me wonders, what if if I was in a situation like that and I was still in debt and stuff, I'd be like, hey, how about we settle that amount? And then you can leave for a little bit, recoup yourself, and then be like, hey, by the way, blow the whistle, man. Come on.
Aster. She said he was very friendly initially and they played games. He kept pushing her to play with him, and even though she didn't want to, she agreed because she wanted to have a good relationship with all of her coworkers. That's according to her. But then over time, his behavior towards her started to shift. He started calling her way more often, making flirty comments about her appearance and her voice. He would even start asking her to say sentences or specific phrases in her voice because he thought it was cute. He'd even bring up the topic of her ASMR videos in a way that made her uncomfortable. And then according to her, his attitude would shift even further. He would start to put her down, calling her mentally disabled or saying that she had Tourette's, repeatedly saying that she's not normal, and would even claim at some point that others at work, her coworkers, the other VTubers at Nijisanji, were uncomfortable around her. She says that later on, she found out from one of those coworkers that Aster was talking about that this was untrue and that this was only a part of his manipulation tactics. Aster would keep escalating this behavior and then would suggest that he and Twisty should meet up in Japan. She explained to him that she's very anxious socially and wouldn't be comfortable. He kept pushing and he didn't believe her, adding things like, hey, what if we were in Japan but together? She would keep saying no repeatedly. He would keep asking, this time in a flirty way, and would say things like, what if we held hands? To which he said no. What if we hugged? To which he said no, and would even go as far as saying, what if we stayed in your hotel room together? To which again, she said no. So zero respect of boundaries. Now here's where things get very weird. According to her, at some point, Nijisanji management told her that they needed her for an event in Japan, saying that they didn't have enough talent. They simply didn't have enough people showing up. She considered going, but was financially unable since they weren't going to pay for her ticket. Amazing company, I know. But now, as she looks back towards this, she thinks that there was an ulterior motive because it turns out that they did indeed have enough people for the event. So they lied to her. So I guess this is her implying that maybe Aster had a hand in this, wanting her to come to Japan so that he can, meet up with her against her will. She then says that he did this exact same thing with others. This would be his methodology. Targeting new hires, new VTubers that just joined that would fangirl over him, be exceedingly friendly with them, isolate them, and then propose to them, hey, want to fly out to Japan? Want to meet up? Knowing very well that they're probably broke and can't afford to go to Japan but really want to. In the initial leaked messages and in False ID's video, to Twisty, Aster truly crossed the line when he got in a call with a non-VTuber friend of hers that was a very big fan of Nijisanji and a big fan of Aster and tried to pull the same thing on her, saying, hey, you should come to Japan, let's meet up. This is when Twisty would get on a call with Aster and would confront him about his behavior, specifically about telling a lot of girls, hey, I'll fly you to Japan. This happens in her apology video at the 24-minute 13-second mark. Watch.
I feel like it's kind of weird when you offer to fly girls out. Just in general. I'm getting a call.
In general?
Might be famous. I don't know, but don't you think
But it was like a half joke.
I mean, you can't really
It's a half
joke saying,
joke. Are you kidding
I'm gonna
me?
fly you to Japan. Come stay at my hotel. That's not really a joke. Like, I feel like there are some things you should and should not say to someone who is like, because like she is a really big fan of Nijisanji. You're on your Livewear account. I feel like it's very awkward for her when you're saying, like, even if it's a joke, which I don't think it is. I don't think, like, you say my joke's like unhinged or whatever, but you don't just say, I'm gonna fly you out and you can stay in my hotel room.
So this is it. There you have it. This is a clip in which...
See, now her thought process on that was very methodical and logical. It's, yeah.
Aster Arcadia is with Twisty in the same voice channel, and as she's confronting him about this, he's saying it's kind of a half joke, acknowledging that this actually did indeed happen. And I mean, yeah, of course, anything can be a half joke until the other person says yes, then it becomes reality. But it's definitely a very weird thing to say when someone is clearly a fan of your company, you're using your Aster Arcadia Discord account, and you tell them, hey, want to come to Japan and stay in the same hotel room as me? That's not a joke, because someone like her is almost guaranteed to say yes. I mean, she's a fan. That's just so weird. And this is the person being protected by Nijisanji at all costs right now. She says the reason why she only included 60 seconds of this voice call is because the name of her friend as well as names of other people are mentioned, and she doesn't want to compromise them. She says that she went public with this because management would never acknowledge her. And that was pretty much an apology of 32 minutes in lolly ASMR summed up. You're welcome. But it's not over yet because she included a pinned comment saying, 1. I have full receipts, I have Discord logs, I have messages to staff members and legal. I will not be sharing these. The full call will not be shared because it mentions who else was involved and I'm not okay with bringing somebody into things who is not comfortable speaking up. I cut the clip as it is to avoid any possible way of involving them because they are directly mentioned a few seconds after. 2. Quite frankly, I don't care if what I say upsets people. If I didn't regret my words, I just wouldn't apologize for them. I think a lot of people have the wrong idea about things and just automatically assume that apologizing is lost on a lot of people. And honestly, I agree. Forgiveness can be
True.
lost on people.
Yeah.
No one should even be expected to forgive
Well,
someone
and
for
that's the thing. Do you apologize because you seek forgiveness, or do you apologize because what you did is wrong? And that's a concept that most people don't even think about. And truly, I think it speaks more to your character if you apologize regardless of how someone responds. That shouldn't be the reason why you do it. You should be apologizing because it's the right thing to do. Because here's the other thing. It's similar to, like, if you were to, if you were to be honest with someone and then they're not happy with what you say, at the very least, they're, and I don't mean, you being honest by saying something bad, but like maybe you giving someone an answer they didn't expect, saying, hey, I don't think this is going to work anymore. I feel like we need to break up or something. Maybe they won't like that, but they're not going to challenge your integrity or your character. And in a situation like this, it's like, yeah, if I, even if people aren't going to believe me or accept my apology, I still need to do it because I regret what I said. That's very valid.
anything in the first place. If you're apologizing to please people, is there any point? I think that I went too far and could have expressed myself in different ways, and that is all there is to it. But honestly, it has nothing to do with forgiveness from the types of people who will vilify and harass me, all while defending a genuine predator. This has always been a guilty until proven situation, and it will probably stay that way forever. I truly hope it does, because I do not want such people to ever interact with me or my content. 3.
I feel like that's fair too. There's been some people that they'll start criticizing me or harassing me for something, and I'm like, please never show up. Like, I would genuinely be happy if you never paid attention to me. There's content creators out there. I hope they never find my music. I hope they never find my content. I hope they never look at who I am, because I don't want people like that around me.
Begin to assume you know anything about my job, contract, or terms when you have absolutely no idea outside of, oh well, this person said this. Like
That's
I said in the
also true.
video, everyone has very different experiences, and lots of people have very different circumstances too. I am telling you mine. 4. I wanted to leave last August. I wanted to leave again 4 months ago. 5. I don't hate all men. I think they're all mentally ill, but so are all women, and so am I, so...
Okay.
Great. Slowly but surely destroying her initial apology. 6. I have no issues with Brave Group as a whole. I will not mention the VTuber in question, but I still stand by my words here. Yes, I was jealous and petty, and it was definitely in bad taste, but I'm not going to apologize for disliking someone in private or being upset for my own personal reasons, nor for thinking that hiring people who are open about politics is bad optics. At this point, she's already terminated, so it would be an apology to the wind. Again, just slowly but surely completely undoing the initial apology, like straight up. 7. She quotes some people saying you're deflecting blame and says 2 people can make mistakes at the same time. I want to start fresh and move on with my life. I'd like to take some time away, and that is not something I felt like I could do. I think that these things were very important to address together because of all the comments I've seen going, well, she said this, so they're totally innocent, which is just not how things work. So yeah, because of that voice call of her leaking where she was racist and all those things, some Aster Arcadia fans were saying, well, hey, if she's a terrible person, that means all the things she said about him were fake. That's not how it works.
Yeah, that's
she then
not how that
continues,
works.
I feel like my statement on Twitter covered the majority of my feelings about the situation, and while I considered speaking more on what had happened, I think it is ultimately not relevant. I cannot go back and change the past. The most I can do is say sorry and be better for myself and my fans. And then she says a sentence I have no idea why this is necessary to specify. When I first read this, I had to do a double take. Number 9, I will never apologize for being a lolicon. I will continue to do incestuous lolly roleplay. Bro, no comment, man. Just no comment. Let's move on.
And that's where I feel like a lot of people trying to defend a lot of that space are fooling themselves. You don't do this kind of thing just cause, art just needs to be whatever. Yeah, no, I think there's a certain point where it's like you are really showing your hand that your purpose for doing this is not pure. And it's not for just a expressly artistic motive. It's because you have some issues. I'm sorry.
Aside from all that, I truly believe that if you continue to support and defend my job and the individual mentioned, you are no better than me. You can deflect and call me a liar all you want while downplaying the severity of the situation, but at the end of the day, I know what I and others have experienced. You are the reason that they continue to treat their employees poorly, the reason they allow truly vile people to do truly vile things with no repercussions, and will continue to do so.
That is also
Believe all
true.
women until it's one I don't like, right? I truly hope that you will never have to go through the same thing. So yeah, this is definitely a loaded pinned comment, especially that ninth statement that came out of nowhere to sucker punch me in the face. But this was actually kind of a successful attempt at sweeping her leaked voice call under the rug. Now people were mostly focused on Nijisanji and Aster Arcadia yet again. And for good reason. Aster Arcadia is an even bigger problem than we first thought. His behavior is not just being protected by Nijisanji, it's being encouraged at this point. You have multiple people coming together to complain about his behavior internally, and Nijisanji is refusing to do anything about it. Even lying to everyone, saying that they're conducting an internal investigation. And I mean, it's been over 6 months. We still haven't heard anything about that investigation in any way, shape, or form. But investigation aside, this was noteworthy enough to warrant some sort of a statement from Nijisanji themselves. What we initially
So I said Alira earlier. I was thinking Enna. Though Alira is a talented vocalist as well, but
got, though, wasn't an official statement. It was an unofficial one that made Nijisanji's stance very clear, deleting every single piece of content from Twisty Amanozako's YouTube channel and privating her Twitter account. These things are usually done when a VTuber at Nijisanji leaves for whatever reason. But when they do leave, whether they get kicked out or graduate, Nijisanji usually makes a statement. This time, there was no such statement. She pretty much got stealth kicked. We can confirm this now because she was even removed from Nijisanji's official website. But guess what? Aster Arcadia is still right here, and he's not going anywhere. Then, out of the blue, on June 21st, 2025, Nijisanji finally decided to make an official statement on the situation, saying, announcement regarding Twisty Amanozako's contract termination. Nijisanji EN has terminated his contract with Twisty Amanozako due to confirmed instances of discriminatory speech, which is in direct violation of our contract terms and is not tolerated in our community. We appreciate your continued support as we grow together, and we remain committed to fostering a community built on mutual respect, creativity, and accountability.
no, you don't.
Thank you for your understanding. Dude, that's so funny coming from them, I swear. But there you have it. We got an official statement. It was made on Saturday, though, and some people believe this was the case so that it doesn't affect stock price since the stock market is closed on weekends. Some people, of course, pointed out, hey, this is great, but what about the investigation that's been going on for 6 months? Of course, zero mention of that. But hey, I guess all these things are truly negligible because over the last year, Any Color stock has doubled. I wish I was kidding. I don't know what the hell's going on in the Japanese stock market, but it's almost doubled. But while the CEO is indeed richer from this, his aspirations of becoming an international company are pretty much flushed down the toilet. I mean, it's really funny to me. They were hoping that the heat from False ID's video about Aster would die down by the time they reach his 3rd anniversary. But due to what happened with Twisty, it just got freshly reignited, and I don't think he's going live again anytime soon. But hey, Twisty seems to be doing pretty well at least. She went live as recently as June 18th and continues to go live almost every single day. It seems that she's finally been released from the clutches of Nijisanji and can go back to streaming on her past life account without any legal repercussions. I wish her the best in her lolly incestuous roleplay adventures. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I wish her the best in her lolly incestuous roleplay adventures. Anyway.
Wait. Oh my gosh. Okay. Do you run faster if the monster is of a different persuasion? Different race? That was a little bit of a low blow. I'm sorry.
Anyway, thank you so much for watching until the end. This is such a train wreck. It's ridiculous. And I'll see you in the next video, whenever that is.
Okay, so I didn't quite agree with everything MUJIN was saying, but the fact that the situation is how it is, like, bro, it's just terrible. And it's so sad to me that, because I think a lot of the back and forth we have in these situations all comes down to neither party being right, you know? And yeah, maybe saying XYZ or doing XYZ brought about a truth about ABC, but that doesn't mean that what you did to get there was totally fine. And I feel like it's just sad that we even have to have that kind of thing happen. It's horrible. But I'd love to know your guys' thoughts in the comments. Normally I don't do videos like this, and I am very tired right now. I need to just go do something physical to get my energy back up. But yeah, I mean, if you enjoyed this video, support MUJIN, I guess. I'll leave the link to this in the description. And yeah, I don't ever want to come back to this kind of stuff. I don't want my curiosity spiked again. Bye.